All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most hyped up releases in the AI world, OpenAI's GPT-5. We're going to break down what makes this new model so incredibly different, check out some really jaw-dropping demos, and then explore what it all means for, well, all of us. Okay, let's get into it.
You know, the best way to really get your head around the massive leap to GPT-5 is to hear it straight from OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman. He says it's like having a PhD-level expert on tap for literally any topic. And look, that's not just some clever marketing line. It's the core idea, the central metaphor that really explains everything this new model is capable of.
And this analogy is just brilliant for framing the evolution. Think about it like this. If GPT-3 was kind of like a high schooler, sometimes super smart, sometimes a little bit annoying, and GPT-4o was more like a really helpful college student, well, GPT-5 is the PhD expert in the room. This really paints a picture of the jump, not just in raw knowledge, but in the actual depth and quality of its intelligence.
So, what exactly gives this AI its doctorate? We're not just talking about some minor update here. No, this is a fundamental, ground-up change in how the model thinks, and it's all built on one key breakthrough.
And that breakthrough is all about reasoning. See, in the past, you always had this trade-off. Did you want a fast, simple answer, or a slow, more thoughtful one? GPT-5 gets rid of that choice completely. It automatically pauses to think for just the right amount of time, giving you the best possible answer without you even having to ask. It's like it just knows when a problem needs a quick fact check versus when it needs to go away and really ponder for a minute.
And boy, does this new reasoning power show up in the numbers. When you put it up against tough benchmarks for things like real-world coding or super complex reasoning, GPT-5 doesn't just nudge ahead of other models. It absolutely smashes them, setting a new high score. In some cases, it's even outperforming most human experts. It's that good.
But hey, benchmarks are one thing. Seeing it in action? That's something else entirely. So let's take a look at what these new superpowers can actually do.
Okay, so imagine you need a hand with a physics concept, say the Bernoulli effect. You can ask for a quick text refresher, and boom, you get it instantly. But then you say, actually, could you create a moving, interactive demo for me? Now, GPT-5 recognizes, whoa, this is a complex task. It takes a moment to think, and then it spits out nearly 400 lines of code to build a working simulation you can actually play with. All of that in about 2 minutes. It's wild.
This huge leap in quality also applies to things like creative writing. For example, when it was asked to write a eulogy for older AI models, GPT-4o came back with something pretty generic, template-like. But GPT-5's version, it's filled with rhythm, with nuance, with these really specific details that feel genuine. They feel emotionally resonant. It sounds less like an AI and more like a good friend who has a really high EQ.
And this creative leap, it goes way beyond just writing. It's completely changing the game in software development. It's leading to something people are starting to call vibe coding, which is basically the ability to build a really complex application from nothing more than an idea or even just a feeling.
Just take a look at this prompt. Notice how conversational it is. There's no code, there's no technical jargon. It's just a simple request for a beautiful and interactive app to learn French. And it throws in some ideas like flashcards, quizzes, and a fun game.
And that's the absolute magic of vibe coding. In just a few minutes, GPT-5 produced a fully functional web app. And it didn't just include the flashcards and quizzes, it creatively interpreted that fun game request. It built a custom game where a little mouse eats cheese to reveal new French words. And it even has audio pronunciations. And just to push things even further, another demo showed it creating this beautiful, interactive 3D castle just from a simple request. It had guards patrolling the walls, cannons you could actually fire, and even a little balloon-popping minigame. This is literally software on demand.
So, beyond these big, flashy, creative tasks, GPT-5 is also designed to become a much more personal and deeply integrated assistant for your everyday life.
Yeah, the whole experience is getting way more personal. You've got cosmetic tweaks like changing the colors, and you can even play around with different AI personalities. But the really practical stuff is functional. Its memory is way better, and with new integrations into Google Calendar and Gmail, it can actually understand your schedule. All of that plus a smarter, more natural voice mode for everybody means it's really designed to be a more useful part of your day.
But the impact of this technology, it goes way beyond just the chat window. It has some really profound implications for areas like health, safety, and of course, the tools available to developers.
To really understand the real-world impact, you have to hear Carolina Millen's story. After a really shocking cancer diagnosis, she gets this complex biopsy report that's just full of medical jargon. And in a moment of total panic, she puts a screenshot of it into ChatGPT. And this quote, this just captures that immediate relief it gave.
Later on, when she was facing a really difficult treatment decision where even her doctors disagreed, she used the AI to understand all the nuances of her case. Now, this wasn't about replacing doctors, not at all. It was about giving her the knowledge to make an informed decision she could truly stand behind. It became a tool for her own agency.
And this, right here, this is the core promise of AI in healthcare that her story brings to light. It isn't just about finding cures. It's about creating smarter, more empowered patients who can be active participants in their own healthcare journey. Now, for all the developers and businesses out there who are building on top of this tech, there's a whole suite of models now. You can choose the flagship GPT-5 for maximum power and reasoning. There's a mini version for a good balance of speed and intelligence. And there's an ultra-efficient nano version that's 25 times more affordable. It gives builders the flexibility to pick the exact right tool for whatever job they have.
So, with all this incredible new power available right now, it's only natural to ask, what comes next? Let's take a quick look at what the research behind GPT-5 hints at for the future. What's really fascinating here is this new training paradigm. See, instead of only learning from human data scraped from the web, the older generations of AI are now being used to create this high-quality synthetic curriculum to teach the next generation. It's a recursive improvement loop where the AIs are basically helping to make their successors smarter, and they're doing it faster and faster.
And the scale of this whole thing is it's staggering. Just 32 months after its initial launch, ChatGPT is now being used by about 700 million people every single week. This isn't some niche tech anymore. It's a global utility that is fundamentally changing how we work, how we learn, and how we create.
The barrier between having an idea and actually making it real is it's dissolving. When an AI can be your personal PhD expert, your creative co-pilot, and your on-demand software developer, the main limitation isn't technical skill anymore, it's imagination. So the real question this technology leaves every single one of us with is this: what ideas will you bring to life? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.